everybody. So today I'm going to show you how to make Charmander, and this is what he's going to look like. These are the supplies that I'm going to be using today, and we are going to crochet it just with our hook. For the eyes, I did use 2 white bands with 2 9mm pony beads. So if you don't have the pony beads, please do pick a black elastic or a color of an eye that band that you would like to use. For the mouth, it's optional. I just wanted to add it. So it's optional if you want to add this piece. I did secure it with a C-clip. I will be stuffing with some stuffing, some polyfill, and using the bottom part of our loom to start us off on the magic ring. So I do hope you enjoy, and let's get started. Now we're going to create the legs. I'm going to show you to do one, and then you're going to pause the video to make another one. We're only going to do 9 single crochets in the magic ring. So there's 3 rounds for the leg. I'm going to use the bottom part of my loom and taking a single band and wrapping it around the bottom peg 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to take 9 bands and pull them through one at a time. So go in, grab your first band, again as if you're doing a slip knot, grabbing the end, loop over, and bring it to the side. Don't pull too hard. You can see it's still loose. Go back in for your second band. You're going to bring through, put the other end on your hook, and you're going to have 3 loops. Bring the 2 over the one that's at the end and bring it to the side. You're going to continue with your next band, 2 loops over, and bring it to the side. Keep bringing it to the side so they're not going to be all clumped in one area. Bring your band through. So for this round, you're using a total of 10 bands. You're bringing only 9 through. So bring your next, Okay, I'm grabbing 2 loops. Two loops over. This is my 8th band that I brought through, and my last one. 2 loops over. You want a stitch marker, and you want to add it to the band that's around your hook, and remove off the loom. You should have 9 stitches. Move your bands around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is on your hook. If you have this hole, because we used the loom, just squeeze it together and the hole will close, and that's what you want. For rounds 2 and 3 of the legs, we're going to do 9 single crochets. So you're going to add 1 band to each chain around. So each of my piles, I have 9 bands. So at the end of each round, you should have 9 stitches. Our last band, we're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. I'm going to do both rounds with you. So I'm going to go on my first chain, right at the top here. And I'm going to start round 2, bringing 1 band through that chain. Moving on to the next chain, 1 band, bring it through the chain, on your hook, and side. The next chain, and side. The next, all the way around till you hit the stitch marker. You should still have 9 stitches. Remove your stitch marker, add it to the band around your hook, and we're going to go in our next chain, and we're going to start our first chain here. We're going to start round 3. So don't go in where it's being pulled. That chain's being used, and bring 1 band through. So same thing, all the way around till you hit the stitch marker, making sure that you do the slip knot on the last band. This is kind of a chunky rubber band. I'm just going to remove it. I don't like it too much. I'm going to get another one. And the last band, you want to bring it through all of the loops that are on your hook, grab the end, and tie off. You can remove the stitch marker, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 sewing bands, one for each. I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to do both. So basically just put your slip knot to the bottom and fold it in half. So all your stitches are nice and even together, and you're going to have one stitch at the top that's going sideways. That's the one you want to grab, and you're going to bring one band through and do a slip knot. And we're going to use this band to attach the legs. Give it a tug. Now for the next one, same thing. Slip knot at the bottom, fold it in half so all your stitches are the same and they're even, and you're going to have one stitch at the top that's going sideways. I'm going to grab that and bring a band through and do a slip knot. And you can put those to the side, and we're going to do the head next. For round 1 of the arms, we're going to do 7 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm going to use the bottom part of my loom. I'm going to take a single band and wrap it around 3 times. I'm going to show you how to do one, and then you're going to pause the video to make another. So go around 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to bring 7 bands through, one at a time. Go in as if you're doing a slip knot by bringing one band through. Grab the other end on your hook and bring your loop over, bring it to the side. Never pull that band. Go back in, your second band, put the end on your hook and bring your 2 bands over and bring to the side. And you're just going to continue the same way. I'm assuming that you all know how to do this. Attach my stitch marker to the band that's around my hook, remove off the loom, and I'm going to move my bands around. You should have 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is on your hook. If you want to just kind of squish it together, that band that we wrap around the loom 3 times, it just opens up the circle a little bit bigger than when you do this by just with your hook. So this is what you should have. For round 2, 3, and 4 of the arm, we're just going to do 7 single crochets. I'm going to do all the rounds with you. So you can see each pile, I have 7 bands. So at the end of each of these rounds, you should have 7 stitches. Our last band, we're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So I'm just going to go on my first chain, adding 1 band. So just adding 1 band to each chain around. The next chain with 1. It's a fairly small piece to work with, so just take your time. Try not to stretch the bands. I'm going to remove the stitch marker. It's up to you if you want to use it because you use such little bands amounts. I'm just going to keep it on just to show you. I'm going to go in my next chain and I'm going to start round 3. So again, just adding 1 band to each chain around. You can remove your stitch marker. I still have 7 stitches. And now I'm going to start round 4, just adding 1 band to each chain. Remember to do that slip knot when you're done with your last band. This is the last one, so I'm going to bring it through all of the loops that are on my hook. So through my chain, my loop, grabbing the end and tying it off. You can remove the stitch marker, and I'm going to add 2 sewing bands now. So for each arm, I'm adding 2 bands. So I'm going to do both. I'm going to put the slip knot to the side and fold the arm in half here. I'm going to go through the chain in the center from the front to the back here. So I have the 4 loops. So you can see I didn't go right beside the slip knot, and just bring a band through and do a slip knot. So grabbing both ends and tie off. And now you're going to do that right at the end. So it's the same distance as this one, so it's even. And tie off. You're going to do the same thing, slip knot to the side, going for the middle stitches, and bring a band through and do a slip knot. And right at the end. Now you can just put these to the side. Round 1, we're going to do 5 single crochets in the magic ring. I'm going to use the bottom part of my loom, so turn it upside down, and I'm going to take a single band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to bring 5 bands through, 1 at a time. First band you're going to bring through as if you're doing a slip knot on your hook, and bring your band over and bring it to the side. Go back in for your second band, bring through on your hook, and bring these 2 loops over to the side, and continue. Third band, 2 loops over, bring it to the side. Your fourth band, bring through, 2 loops over, and 1 more. Bring your 2 loops over. You're going to attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook. Did I just totally lose it? And remove off the loom. You should have 5 stitches. So I'm going to move my bands around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is on your hook. For round 2, we're going to add 2 bands to each chain around. So the pattern is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. At the end of round 2, you're going to have 10 stitches. So going in the first chain, you're going to add 2 rubber bands, 1 at a time. Go back in that same chain and add your second band. The next chain with 2. Back in. The next chain. Back in. And just continue until you hit the stitch marker. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook, and you should have 10 stitches. For round 3, we're going to increase on every second stitch. So increase is to add 2 bands. The pattern is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and repeat this 5 times. At the end of round 3, you will have 15 stitches. Our first chain with 1. Chain 2, we'll have 2 bands. Go back in and repeat 1, 2. So 1 in the first chain and 2 in the next, in the second. Repeat again. So you should have 15 stitches. Remove your stitch marker. Add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 4, we're going to increase on every third stitch. So the pattern is 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and you're going to repeat that same thing 5 times. At the end of round 4, you'll have 20 stitches. So my first chain with 1. Chain 2 with 1. And chain 3, you have 2 bands, 1 at a time. And repeat. 1, next chain, 1, and then the third chain with 2. Repeat until you get to the stitch marker. You have 20 stitches. Remove your stitch marker. For round 5, we're going to increase on every 4th stitch. So the pattern is 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. You're going to repeat this pattern 5 times. And at the end of round 5, you're going to have 25 stitches. So going in your first chain, definitely not where it's getting pulled, with 1 band. Chain 2 with 1 band. Chain 3 with 1. And then chain 4, you're adding 2 bands, 1 at a time. Back in. And repeat. 1 band, 1, 1, 2. Back in. And you're going to repeat this 3 more times until you hit the stitch marker. So you can remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook, and you should have 25 stitches. For round 6 and 7 of the head, we're going to do 25 single crochets, so adding 1 band to each chain. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. At the end of round 6 and 7, you should have 25 stitches. So coffee's done. I don't know if you heard the beeping. We're going to go on our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and I'm going to do round 6 with you, and then you're going to pause the video to do round 7. So adding 1 band to your first chain and side. The next chain, 1 band. So each of my piles, I have 25 bands. So just continue all the way around until you get to the stitch marker. And the last one. And now you're going to remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook. Please pause the video and come back to me when you're done round 7. For round 8, we're going to do, for the head, we're going to do 25 single crochets, but we're going to add the eyes on chains 10 and chain 16. So you can see that I have 25 bands right here. If you don't have the pony beads, which I am using the 7mm, you can use the bands instead. So to do with the bands, just move your band up, grab a single eye color band and wrap it around your hook 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to be using a white band. This is up to you. If you want to use an orange band, you're going to slide the band on, put it in the middle, remove off your finger carefully, and there's 1 eye. For the next, wrap it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And slide this on to a band, and remove off your finger and the hook, and there's the other eye. If you are using pony beads, all you're doing is just pinching the band and slide it through the hole. So I'm going to be adding 1 band to each chain around, and I'm going to count the bands until we get to our first eye. So going in my first chain, not where it's getting pulled, I'm going to bring a band through. Chain 2, 1 band. Chain 3, chain 4, chain 5, chain 6, chain 7, chain 8, chain 9, and chain 10, we're at the eye. So I'm going to be doing a slip knot with this, or a slip stitch. I'm going to be bringing the end through all of the loops that are on my hook because I am changing color, and I'm going to slide. Now I'm going to go on my next chain, which is chain 11, grabbing my band, and I'm going to bring it through all of the loops that are on my hook, again because I'm changing color, and slide. So now I'm at chain 12, 1 band through your chain, on your hook, and slide. 13, 14, 15, and chain 16, we're adding the other eye. So same thing, just bring it through all of the loops that are on your hook, grab the end, and slide. Now you're going to go on your next chain, which is chain 17. You're changing color, so you're going to bring it through all of the loops that are on your hook. So a slip stitch and slide. Now you're just going to crochet normally with the rest of the bands until you get to your stitch marker. Should have 25 stitches. Remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook. For rounds 9, 10, 11, and 12, we're just going to do 25 single crochets, so adding 1 band to each chain. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. When I get to the eyes for round 9, I'm going to show you which loops to go in. And then you're going to pause the video to do rounds 10, 11, and 12, and then come back to me when you're done. So I'm going to go on my first chain, adding 1 band. The next chain with 1. So I'm going to go all the way until I get to the white band that I added for the eye, and then I'll just stop. Oops, I dropped my stitches. I'll just pick them up. So when you get to the eye, we only used 1 white band, so you'll see a little slip knot, which is your first one, and this tiny one here, that's your chain. So it's getting pulled because of the band, so go in the second white loop and bring your band through. And the same thing with the orange when we did a slip knot, so don't go through the little knot at the end, you're going to go through the chain. And then continue till you get to the next eye. And we're at the white, so don't go in the first little chain here. It looks like a chain, it's a knot. Go in the second one. Bring your band through. And then with the orange, you're going to skip the little knot and go through your chain. And continue until you get to the stitch marker. Remove your stitch marker and you could add it to the band that's around your hook. Pause the video and come back to me when you're done. For round 13, the pattern is 1, 1, 1, 4 and 5 together. 1, 1, 1, 4 and 5 together. You're going to repeat this pattern 5 times. And at the end of this round, you're going to have 20 stitches. So I'm going to go on my first chain, my first 3 chains with 1 band. The next chain with 1. The third chain with 1. And now take 4 and 5 and stitch together. Repeat 1, 1, 1, 4 and 5 together. So repeat this pattern all the way around till you get to the stitch marker. You can remove your stitch marker. You should have 20 stitches. For round 14, we're going to do 2 single crochets and 1 decrease. So 1, 1, 3 and 4 together. 1, 1, 3 and 4 together. You're going to repeat this pattern 5 times. At the end of round 14, you'll have 15 stitches. And this is our last round, so we're going to do a slip knot with our last band. So going in the first chain with 1 band. Chain 2, 1. Now 3 and 4 and stitch together. And repeat. 1, 1 in the next, and then 3 and 4 and stitch together. Just continue this pattern until you get to the stitch marker. Don't forget to do a slip knot with the last band. this band and you're going to bring it through your chain. Let me just take it off because I obviously forgot. Your last two chains are 3 and 4 together. Bring your band through all of the loops that are on your hook. Grab the end and tie off. And you can remove the stitch marker. We're just going to fix the eyes now. I'm just going to move the bands around first to loosen up some of the tension. And now for the eyes, whether you're using bands or the beads, you're going to push through the little V in the back and the other one. And the head is complete. Round 1, we're going to do 5 single crochets in the magic ring. I'm going to use the bottom part of my loom, so turn it upside down, and I'm going to take a single band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to bring 5 bands through, one at a time. First band you're going to bring through as if you're doing a slip knot on your hook and bring your band over and bring it to the side. Go back in for your second band, bring through on your hook and bring these 2 loops over to the side and continue. Third band, 2 loops over, bring it to the side. Your fourth band, bring through, 2 loops over, and 1 more. Bring your 2 loops over. You're going to attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook. Did I just totally lose it? And remove off the loom. You should have 5 stitches. So I'm going to move my bands around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is on your hook. For round 2, we're going to add 2 bands to each chain around. So the pattern is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. At the end of round 2, you're going to have 10 stitches. So going in the first chain, you're going to add 2 rubber bands, one at a time. Go back in that same chain and add your second band. The next chain with 2. Back in. The next chain. Back in. And just continue until you hit the stitch marker. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook, and you should have 10 stitches. For round 3, we're going to increase on every second stitch. So increase is to add 2 bands. The pattern is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and repeat this 5 times. At the end of round 3, you will have 15 stitches. Our first chain with 1. Chain 2 will have 2 bands. Go back in and repeat 1, 2. So 1 in the first chain and 2 in the next, in the second. Repeat again. So you should have 15 stitches. Remove your stitch marker. Add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 4, we're going to increase on every third stitch. So the pattern is 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and you're going to repeat that same thing 5 times. At the end of round 4, you'll have 20 stitches. So my first chain with 1. Chain 2 with 1. And chain 3, you have 2 bands, one at a time. And repeat. 1, next chain, 1, and then the third chain with 2. Repeat until you get to the stitch marker. Check 20 stitches, remove your stitch marker. For round 5, we're going to increase on every 4th stitch. So the pattern is 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. You're going to repeat this pattern 5 times. And at the end of round 5, you're going to have 25 stitches. So going in your first chain, definitely not where it's getting pulled, with 1 band. Chain 2 with 1 band. Chain 3 with 1. And then chain 4, you're adding 2 bands, one at a time. Back in. And repeat. 1 band, 1, 1, 2. Back in. And you're going to repeat this 3 more times until you hit the stitch marker. So you can remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook, and you should have 25 stitches. For round 6 of the body, we are going to do 25 single crochets, but grabbing the inside loop only. So I have 25 bands here. At the end of round 6, you will still have 25 stitches. So I'm going to start on my first chain, but I'm only going to grab the loop that's closest to you. So the first loop. Normally I would go through both But for this round only, we're going to grab the inside loop, bringing our band through on our hook and side. You're going to continue just the first loop, bring your band through on your hook and side. Again, just grabbing the first, and you're just doing that to every stitch around so we can create a base, just a support for him to sit. Inside loop. So you can do this all the way till you hit the stitch marker. So this is what you should have. You can remove your stitch marker. You should have 25 stitches. For round 7 and 8, we're just going to do 25 single crochets around. So you're adding one band, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. I have 25 bands in each of my piles. I'm going to do round 7 with you, and then you're going to pause the video to do round 8. So going in my first chain, you're going to be grabbing both of the loops, the front and the back, and bringing a band through your chain, and the next with just one band, all the way around until you hit the stitch marker. So you could remove the stitch marker, pause the video, and come back to me when you're done round 8. For round 9, we're going to decrease now. So we're going to do 3 single crochets and 1 decrease. 1, 1, 1, 4 and 5 together. 1, 1, 1, 4 and 5 together. You're going to repeat this pattern 5 times. At the end of round 9, you're going to have 20 stitches. So I'm going to go on my first chain with 1 band, chain 2 with 1 band, chain 3 with 1. Now 4 and 5 you're going to stitch together. And repeat. 1, 1, 1, 4 and 5 together. And just repeat the same thing until you hit the stitch marker. So you should have 20 stitches. Remove your stitch marker, add it to the band around your hook. For rounds 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, you're going to do 20 single crochets. So adding 1 band to each chain. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. Each pile I have 20 bands, so at the end of each round you should have 20 stitches. I'm going to do round 10 with you, and then you're going to pause the video to complete the rest of the rounds. So we're going to go on our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and we're going to add 1 rubber band, bring it through the chain and on your hook and side. That's a single crochet. So now you just got 19 more to go. So 1 band in each chain. You're going to do this until you hit the stitch marker, and then you remove the stitch marker and continue with the rest of the rounds. You have 20 stitches. Remove your stitch marker, add it to the band. You can pause the video now to complete the rest of the rounds. For round 15, our last round for the body, we are going to do 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. So 1, 1, 3, and 4 together. 1, 1, 3, and 4 together. You're going to repeat this pattern 5 times. At the end of round 15, you will have 15 stitches. Your last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So let's go on our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and adding 1 rubber band. Chain 2 will have 1 rubber band. Now take chain 3 and chain 4 and stitch together. And repeat. 1 band, 1, 3, and 4 together. Again, 1, 1, 3, and 4 together. You want to just continue, repeat till you hit the stitch marker. This one, you're going to bring, I'm just going to take it off again. You're going to do a slip knot. Just to remind you, your last band, you're going to take 3 and 4 together, and you're going to bring this band through all of the loops that are on your hook. Grab the end and tie off. You can remove the stitch marker because you no longer need it. And this is what you should have. Now we're going to add some stuffing to both the head and the body, and then we're going to sew the head onto the body using 15 bands. So grab some stuffing and you're going to fill the head or the body, whatever you'd like to do first. Just for the head, remember that it's a wider face than it is longer, so we want to make sure that we fill in the cheeks and make sure that your stuffing is not showing through. So I'm just going to fill it and then move it around. I'm going to roll the head, and any of the stuffing that's coming out, that means it's too much. And now for the body. Make sure that the bottom base is flat. You don't want it like this. You want to make sure it's flat. I'm going to roll the body and remove what's sticking out. Make sure it's flat by just pushing it up, and that should be okay. Now I'm going to put my hook through the stitch that's right beside the slip knot, and I'm going to grab the stitch that's right beside the slip knot on the head. And I'm going to bring my first band through both of those chains, grab the end of the band and tie off. I'm going to go all the way around, grabbing the body first, the chain, the next one over, and the next one over on the head. My next band, I'm going to bring through both of those chains, put the other end on my hook, and slide. The body, the head, the next chain's over, a band through the chain, the next chain, on your hook, and side. Body, head, and band. Through, on your hook, and side. So you're just going to continue the same way, making sure you grab the body first, then the head. Try not to grab the stuffing, and slide. Your last band, when you get there, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. Body, head, body, head, I grabbed that other slip knot there, just going to fix it for a second. And my last stitch, grabbing the body, then the head, moving that slip knot out of the way, and I'm going to bring this band through all of the loops that are on my hook, grabbing the end and tying it off. I'm going to push some of that stuffing into the neck area to fill it up. And the head is kind of lengthwise. I'm going to flatten it up. And that's what you should have so far. Round 1 of the belly, we're going to do 5 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm going to take a single band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to bring 5 bands through, one at a time. So just your first one like a slip knot, your band over and to the side. Go back in for your second band and bring through on your hook, and you want to bring the 2 loops over and bring it to the side. Go back in for your third band, bring through, 2 loops over and bring to the side. Back in for your fourth band to bring through, 2 loops over, and your fifth. Bring it through, 2 loops over, and attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook. Remove off the loom and you should still have 5, or you should have 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For round 2 of the belly part, we're going to add 2 bands to each chain around. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. At the end of round 2, you have 10 stitches. So I'm going to go on my first chain. So we're increasing on every stitch, adding 2 bands, one at a time. Back in. Oops. And the next chain with 2 bands. Back in. And just repeat until you get to the stitch marker. Back in. Back in. Or the next one. You should have 10 stitches. Remove your stitch marker. We're going to do one more round for the belly part, and we're going to increase on every second stitch. So the pattern is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Repeat this pattern 5 times. At the end of round 3, you have 15 stitches. So our last band, we're going to tie it off to do a slip knot closed. So I'm going to go on my first chain, adding 1 band. And then chain 2, I'm going to add 2 bands, one at a time. Back in. Again, we're going to repeat 1 in the first chain. and then 2 in the next. Back in and repeat. 1 and then 2 in the next. Back in and repeat. You're going to continue the same pattern all the way till you get to the stitch marker. This is your last band, so I'm going to pull it through all of the loops that are on my hook and grab the end and tie it off. You can remove the stitch marker and move the bands around. I'm going to add, on the belly part, I'm going to add 13 slip knots, so to each chain around. I'm not going to go right where the slip knot is. I'm not going to go right beside it. I'm going to start at the chain over. So I'm just going to put my hook through and I'm going to add a slip knot. So with 13 yellow bands, you're just going to go right around. Don't pull too hard, but pull enough so that your slip knots don't come undone. And just to each chain a little slip knot all the way around. And then we're going to sew this onto the body. Now this is my original slip knot, so I'm back at the bottom now, and this is the one that I want you to hold on to, and then we're going to attach this. So I'm going to put it flat, and we're going to attach this at the bottom of the body. Now we're going to lay this flat, and I'm going to grab somewhere in the middle. I'm going to bring my bottom slip knot through somewhere in the middle, but I prefer sewing this upside down because then the orange bands don't show through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center, and that's where I'm going to start. So finding the center, I'm going to go through the stitch on the body and bring my bottom slip knot through. Now I'm going to be grabbing the stitches, just this one over, all the way around. You're going to grab the stitches in the form of the circle, making sure that you keep this belly part flat and not moving it over. So watch when you're sewing. Go through the stitch right beside where you started, and you're going to bring your next slip knot through. And you're going to slide through. My belly is starting to turn, so I'm going to start to turn, and I'm going to grab the next stitch over and bringing my slip knot through. Stitch above. Just wherever your stitches are landing, that's where you're going to grab. The next one above. I want to make sure that it's centered, so it's very easy for it to go to the left or to the right. So I want to make sure that I am in the center. So next stitch above, bring your slip knot through, making sure I'm still in the center. Next stitch above. Still in the center. Next stitch, you can see that I turned now. Next stitch. And I'm right at, I dropped my stitch, I'm right at the top now. So make sure where you place this is at the stitch right above. So I'm kind of skipping a stitch right here, just because my slip knot is aiming on top of this stitch. And slide. Beside that, drop my stitch again, pick it up. And I'm going to the next one. So I'm going to grab in here, drop my stitch again. I want to say just check your work to make sure that you're still in the center. Now I'm going to go wherever this next stitch is and bring my slip knot through, slide. So the next stitch, the next stitch, I think I went through too many stitches. And now I have an empty space right here, and I want to take an extra band, and I'm going to go through the stitch on the body so it's kind of even, and I'm going to grab one of the chains here. So this was a chain that we originally had beside our slip knot, and I'm going to bring this band through and I'm going to tie it off. I'm going to pull all the stuffing that I just kind of grabbed as I was sewing it. You can clean all that up if you did the same thing. And I'm going to bring the slip knot through. So I'm just going to come out right beside the slip knot and bring it through and hide it. And clean it up. Now we're going to sew on the legs. So they're the shorter ones that look like this. We're going to put the arms to the side for a minute. And I'm going to sew both legs on with you. For each leg, you're going to use 6 bands to secure them. What I'm going to do first is, with a different color band, just for you to see, I'm going to add a guiding band to help me guide me where to place the legs. So I'm going to do a slip knot to the body, and then you can remove this once you're done if you wanted to add this. I'm going to find the center, and I'm going to, maybe about here on the body, right at the bottom, add a slip knot. Add a slip knot. And this will just help me where to sew. With the stuffing, it's kind of hard, so just flatten it out to make sure that you have it in the center. Now you're going to sew on the leg. So what you're going to do is you're going to count 4 stitches over from where the center is at the bottom. So you can see the bottom base single chain, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to go through that, and you're going to bring one of these slip knots through. It doesn't matter which one. Just make sure that the leg is facing the bottom. The opening is facing the bottom. Now you're going to go right beside that, grab that single chain right at the bottom base, and then you're going to go through the leg. And you're going to bring a single band through. I'm going to bring it through all of the loops, grab the end, and tie off. Now I'm going to use 2 bands on this side, 2 more, and then 3 bands on this side. So I'm going to grab those 2 bands. I'm going to go through the next chain right above on the leg, and then I'm going to put it flat, and that's where I'm going to grab. So wherever my hook is, which should be above this little chain that we grabbed here, and I'm going to bring a band through the chain on the body and the chain on the leg, putting the other end on my hook and side. Next chain on the leg, I'm going to put it flat, and that's where I'm going to grab. So is the chain right above. Bring your band through both chains on your hook and side. Now I'm at the top here where my slip knot is, so open your leg here, and where that slip knot is where I'm going to grab. So it should be the chain right above. So I'm starting to turn here. Bring your band through and slide. Now I have 3 bands left, and they're for this side. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just grabbing the chain on the leg. Get familiar with the 3 chains that you have. Don't go beside where your slip knot is, or don't go in that chain. 1, 2, and 3. Go through the chain on the leg, put it flat, and that's where you want to grab. Bring your band through both chains on your hook and side. Go through the next chain on the leg, put it flat, and grab the chain where your hook is. Bring your band through both chains on your hook and side. The next chain, the last chain, you're going to bring this band through and do a slip knot. But I'm not going to stretch it over. It's where it falls naturally. And I'm going to bring my band through all of the loops that are on my hook and do a slip knot. And hide the slip knot. Now for the next leg. Again, 6 bands you're going to need, 3 for one side and 3 for the other side. I'm going to count 4 stitches over the bottom base, that single band, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Going from the bottom towards the top of the head, put your hook through. You're going to bring one of these slip knots through. Again, doesn't matter which one. You're going to go through the bottom base chain, that single band right beside it towards your guiding band. And you're going to go through the chain on the leg. So don't go right where your slip knot is, the next chain above. And you're going to bring your single band through. I'm going to bring it through all of the chains. Grab the end, and I'm going to slide. I'm going to go through the chain above on the leg. I'm going to put it flat, and it's going to show you where to grab. Right at the tip of your hook, that chain you want to grab. Bring it through both of the chains on your hook and side. The next chain on the leg, again, put it flat. You should be going right above. Bring your band through both chains on your hook and side. Now I'm at my slip knot at the top here. It's going on an angle, so don't try to make it go straight. What you want to do is grab one of the chains on the body that's right above, bring your band through, and bring it through this loop that's on your hook. You have 3 more bands, so I'm on the other side now. The next chain, don't go where your slip knot is, and put it flat, and that wherever your tip is, try to make it fall naturally, is where you're going to grab. Bring it through both chains on your hook and side. Next chain over. Again, make it go flat. It's just the chain right below on the body. Bring your band through on your hook and side. And your last chain on the leg, let it go flat, and that's where you want to grab. Bring your band through all of the loops and do a slip knot. Check your legs, make sure that you like where they are, and you can hide your slip knot. You can remove this little guiding band now, and we're going to do the arms. I'm going to do the side first, and I'm going to use an extra band to secure it down. So we're going to be doing a slip knot with one band. I'm going to put my arm on an angle, not going straight, but I still want to make sure that I'm starting off even to where the leg is. So I don't want to be over here. And put it flat. I'm going to go through a stitch on the body here, bring my slip knot through, right above, bring my slip knot through, and bring it through this loop. And right above that, bring my slip knot through and side. Now I'm going to secure it. So I'm going to go through this stitch that we did a slip knot on the arm here. I'm just going to grab that and bring a band through all of the loops and tie it off. And the other one. Same thing. We want to make sure where we start is even, and we want to make sure that it's even this way too. So I'm just going to go through this stitch here, right below, and right below that, bringing my band through, making sure that it's even. And we're going to do a slip knot with a single band, and I'm going to grab again the slip knot that's on the arm, bring a band through all of the loops and tie it off. So now you can just hide the slip knots on both arms. So just I'm going through the arms. You can do that to the other one, and then for the back of the neck too as well. Just go right beside it, pull it through. And just continue with these two. We're going to do the tail now at the back, and I'm going to start off right at the bottom of the base, just catching one of these bands here. I'm going to do 3 stitches on the bottom base, and then the other 3 stitches I'm just going to go right above, grabbing the top part of the body. So I'm going to find the 3 stitches that I want even, that I think is even, so I'm going to use these 3 stitches. So I'm going to start off, because I'm right-handed, I'm going to go that way. So I'm going to bring my first band through the bottom stitch, that single band, grabbing the end, and slide. Grabbing the stitch right beside the next band, bring it through that chain on your hook and slide. And one more at the bottom here. And slide. You want to make sure that you are in the center, you're not off to the side. And now I'm going to grab right above it. So I'm kind of going on an angle here just because if I go this way, I'm going to have a crooked tail. So it's just right above, you can see, I ended here, so I'm right above. And I'm going to bring my band through the chain on the body, on my hook, and slide. Right beside that, going to go through the chain on the body there, grab the other end and side. And one more. On our hook and side. So you should have 6 stitches because you use 6 rubber bands. So this first one is our little slip knot. That's not a stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is on your hook. You can attach a stitch marker, which I would recommend because we're going to be going in rounds. Now for round 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the tail, you're just going to go in a circle. So you're just doing 6 single crochets. Each pile I have 6 bands. So at the end of each of these rounds, you should have 6 stitches. I'm going to do round 2 with you, and then you're going to pause the video and complete rounds 3, 4, and 5 and come back to me. So I'm going to go in my first chain, and I'm going to bring 1 band through the chain on my hook and side. I'm going to go to the next chain, bring a band through and side. Next chain with 1 band and side. The next chain and side. The next chain and side. And the last chain. And side. You could remove your stitch marker unless you're just going to count out the bands because it's so small, but remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook, and pause the video and come back to me when you're done. For round 6, I'm still using the orange color. You should have 6 stitches. 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is on your hook. What we're going to do is decrease once in this round. So this is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to add 1 band, 1, 1, and then you're going to stitch 3 and 4 together, and then your 5th chain, your 1 and 1. This is the pattern. So I'll go slowly to show you if you didn't understand that. We're going to go in our first 2 chains with 1 band. 1. So we're just decreasing, so we have 5 stitches. Your next chain with 1 band. Now we're going to take 3 and 4 and stitch together. So take chain 3 and stretch it open if you have to, chain 4 and stitch together. Now you have 2 more stitches, so you're going to add 1 band in each of those chains. 1, 1. 1, and your last chain, 1 band. So now you should have 5 stitches. I'm going to remove my stitch marker, add it to the band that's around my hook, and just to show you, open it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is on my hook. I'm going to switch to yellow now, the yellow color bands, and I'm going to add 2 bands to each chain around. So at the end of round 7, you're going to have 10 stitches. So we're just making the round bigger. I'm going to go in my first chain, and I'm going to start off with a slip stitch. So I'm going to bring, because I'm changing color, I'm going to bring my yellow band through all of the loops on my hook and slide. Now you want to get in that same chain. You can see I'm in the same one, and add your second band on your hook and slide. Moving over to the next chain, I'm going to add 2 bands, 1 at a time. Back in, the next chain with 2, back in, the next chain with 2, back in that same chain, and the last chain, 2 bands. You have 10 stitches. Remove your stitch marker, and I'm going to change to red color next. You could open it up. So for round 8 of the tail, I'm going to change to the red color, and all I'm going to do is 10 single crochets around. So I'm adding 1 band, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. I'm going to start off with a slip stitch because I am changing color. So I'm going to go in my chain and bring my band through all of the loops, grab the end and slide. The next chain just with 1 band, all the way around until you get to the stitch marker. You should still have 10 stitches when you're done. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 9, we're going to do the same thing, adding 1 band to each chain around. So you're doing 10 single crochets. I'm starting off with a different color, so I'm going to do a slip stitch. I'm not going to go in my little knot there, my chain, bring my band through all of the loops and slide, and just go around with 1 band in each chain. Remove your stitch marker. For round 10 of the tail, this is our pattern. So I'm going to start off with a decrease. So that's what I'm going to do first, is I'm going to stitch 1 and 2 together. So I'm going to take chains 1 and chain 2 and stitch together. I'm going to be using 7 rubber bands for this round. So I'm going to stitch 1 and 2 together and slide. For chain 3, I'm going to add 1 band. So I'm going to go in my chain and bring 1 band through on my hook and slide. Now I'm going to take 4 and 5 and stitch together. So make sure you don't go in the same chain that's being pulled because you just went through that same chain. So 4 and 5 and stitch together. Now you're going to take chain 6 and add 1 band. So go in your next chain, this is chain 6, and add 1. Now you're going to take 7 and 8 and stitch together. So chain 7 and 8 stitch together. Now you have 2 chains left, you can see, and 2 rubber bands. Add 1 band in each of those chains. 1, and my last with 1. You can remove the stitch marker, add it, and you should have 7 stitches. For round 11, our last round of the tail, I'm going to take 1 and 2 and stitch together. I'm going to try to do that 3 times. I didn't add stuffing to the tail, so if you did want to put a little bit of the stuffing inside, that's up to you. But I didn't add that. So I'm just going to try taking 1 and 2 and stitch together. With that 3rd rubber band, you want to do a slip knot to tie closed. I'm going to take 1 and 2 and stitch together. I'm going to remove the stitch marker. I'm going to take 1 more stitch, 1 and 2. You can see that I opened it up, and I'm going to pull my band through all of the loops, grab the end, and slide. And just fix it up a bit. And I'm going to bring my slip knot through. And if you'd like to add a little slip knot with an orange band, you can do so by just pulling it up. I'm going to go through a stitch on the body, a stitch on the tail, and do a slip knot. Grab the end. Maybe we should go higher because that didn't really work for me. I'm going to go a little bit higher. So grabbing a stitch on the body, a stitch on the tail, grabbing the end and tie off. I'm going to go through the body and just hide that slip knot. I'm going to add a little mouth. It depends on what you'd prefer to do. I'm going to take a single black band and pull it through and secure it with a C-clip. So I'm going to find the center, wherever you'd like to put the mouth. I'm going to go about here, but I am going to go through 3 of the stitches on the face without catching the stuffing. So I'm putting my hook sideways, and I got 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to bring a band through. I'm going to give that band a little bit of stretch, grab the end, and secure it with a C-clip. You can take even an orange color band and do a slip knot. I would prefer to use an orange because then the black slip knot will just show right through when you're trying to hide it. So you just want to bring that C-clip to the back. I'm just stretching the band a bit more, and I'm going to poke it right through one of the holes. I am going to stretch this band a little bit so it's not tightening up the tension there on the face. And it's done. I hope you enjoyed Looming with Cheryl. Please subscribe down below. I have a lot more designs to load, and I'll see you next time with another. Bye for now.